Hey there, YouTube and fellow moviegoers. My name is Eric, and this is my Detective Pikachu review. Let's get rolling. Alright, so we got Tim and we have his dad, and they don't like each other very much. And most of Tim's life, he has lived separated from him. But now that he's kind of entering adulthood, he has received news that his dad has gone missing or has died. He travels to the city that his dad was working in, being a world-class detective, to find out what happened. Upon getting there, he gets to his apartment and he runs into a Pikachu that he can, for some reason, communicate with. And he finds out that this Pikachu was his father's partner, and they now collaborate together to go on this adventure to figure out what happened to his father. This movie is definitely geared towards kids, particularly with its plot line. It is extraordinarily simplistic. There's not a whole lot going on here. There's not much to think about. As an adult going to see this, just be aware that it's not too complicated. The acting wasn't particularly great. Pokemon were fantastic in their roles, blabbering their names. All the humans in it, however, were not very good on screen together at all. I think you could definitely tell that the director had worked with animation more so than directing people before this, and it shows in this, but it doesn't totally destroy the movie. Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu carries much of the cast through this just with his voice. Tim was extraordinarily moany. The way they just wrote him, he was just moany the whole time. And like I said, I think you could tell that the director of this hasn't really done much directing of actors in films before, but you could see where his mind was in terms of the animation of it. He seemed to have his mind set on telling a story about forgiving those around you and those loved ones and empathizing with people, and it definitely told that throughout as Tim went on his adventure and found out more about his father and finding out what he did for Tim through his work. I was really pleased with the cinematography in this. There was a lot of shots that were relatable to past detective and like spy-based films. There was one scene where everyone was breaking in to a particular place, and as they were dropping down, the camera came in and did this really cool turn. You know, just little camera effects like that tucked in throughout this movie that kept it interesting. That kind of made up for a little bit of that boring plot line. I did notice too the lighting was good, like whenever it wanted to depict Tim in his moody moments and being all sad, it would be, you know, they would use their lighting to complement that and to help kind of push that mood throughout. The editing was really clean. They got through their points really well and told what they needed to tell quickly to kind of drive to Tim and Pikachu meeting one another to get that storyline underway, because there was a lot of information that I feel like they could have drug out a lot longer, and luckily they did not. The way they did it, it did fit very well. The sounds of all these Pokemon were fantastic. I think there was a lot of ways that they could have went and made some of these Pokemon sound. And of course they have, you know, past cartoons, you know, the past 2 decades to base them off of. And they did a really good job of that. I also think the special effects were spot on. I had kind of a vision going into this from being a little kid. I grew up playing the Game Boy Color, Pokemon Red, Yellow, Blue, all those, and I mean to a point where, you know, my dad would walk out and he would ask me to come help on some manly stuff and to learn it and kick rocks, buddy. I really enjoyed Pokemon. I did grow out of it as I, you know, got a little bit older, but a lot of people stuck with it, and there was a big fan base for this, and a lot of people that I think had high expectations for how these Pokemon were to look, and they were spot on. Overall, I would give this movie 3 stars. I think it is worth a watch in theaters if you've ever been a fan of Pokemon, or if you just have a kid that might be a fan of Pokemon, I would definitely go give it a C. If you're not really into this sort of thing, it's not a movie I think you can just pop in and just enjoy what's there. I think you kind of need to know what's going on context-wise, you know, understanding the powers of some of the Pokemon. I think it's going to be exciting to see where they go with this. You know, it's the new thing now, especially since Marvel, to do these universes, and I think if they are successful in the box office with this movie, they'll be able to continue doing movies like this. Like I said, that fan base is definitely there. The people want to see these kind of movies. So I think it is going to be a big thing. I think they're going to be making more of these. I just want to see maybe a little bit more of those Pokemon battles, maybe just the Pokemon training and like catching of Pokemon, because there was very little of that in this. It was just really kind of that buddy adventure ride with Tim and Pikachu throughout. So maybe a little bit more of that if they decide to do more films as we go on. So Detective Pikachu, give it a watch. Definitely recommend going to see it. And please, if you enjoy my content, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Next week, be prepared for John Wick 3. I will be in Florida, so I will be doing it there. My background will look a little bit different, but I'll still be reviewing it all the same. Thank you, YouTube.